Welcome on YouTube. Let's mix this song. Okay, so we're gonna start as we always do with our drum sound, right? We're gonna need a kick and a snare, right? Go in first. Let's do it like over here, this bit. Yeah. Do we actually have anything going on? Let's go to our sort of thingy over here. Okay. So, do we actually have any effects on our drums? No, we do not. So this sound seems okay. I feel like I need more, so I'm gonna add in another. And this is indeed, is it stereo? Is it mono? I can't properly tell in this view. Yes, it is stereo. Okay, so we're gonna need another stereo track for our kick, and we're gonna call it kick 3. I feel like it needs a deeper sort of house kick or something. Just like something like that to fatten it up, because currently it has a lot of attack. It's quite clicky, but I don't feel the low end pumping properly. Yeah. So we're gonna go into our future sessions and we're gonna find a kick. Now, what are we using over here? Yeah, this one seems appropriate. Okay. And we're just gonna like double these up, right? And again, we're not gonna think about the drum composition. This is just the sound, because I want a comprehensive kick sound that is pretty gosh darn heavy. So let's see. Yeah, it's pretty upfront. Okay, and all of these are going, they should go into my kick sum. So let's do that. Right, I feel like I just need to get these balances right, and then I need to sort of take down the volume a little bit because we're going to be boosting it. So let's make sure our gain staging is okay. So we're going to take down this little volume until we have a bit of headroom to work with over here. So maybe like something like along those lines. Now we're going to go to our kick sum and we're going to start, as we always do, with the frequency. So I'm going to turn off all the bands and we're going to turn them on as we need them. First things first, let's make sure we emphasize the low end where we need it to sit, which is below the bass. So that's going to be at around 60 hertz. That's my usual MO. Right? Now we're going to do a little dip over here on at around 100. We're going to do another little dip at around 200 so that we scoop it out. We're going to... This is the basketball sound. We don't like this. We're going to dip that as well. This is a bit of the attack. Let's not scoop out too much of that. Right, and when it comes to high end, we might want to like tame it a little bit. Not too much. Yeah. This is probably very, very quiet. So I'm going to keep writing the volume on the Cubase. Yeah. So that you actually hear what's going on over here. Okay. Now, there are also some frequencies which are very, very annoying somewhere in the high end. That needs to go away. We're going to need to clean that out as well. Okay. Now, we're going to send this kick over into a virtual mix rack. Right? And we're going to do what we always do, which is EQ and compression, right? And we're going to use the modern one over here. And there's actually a default, and we'll start from that. And that is the kick pick. Right? So this is a slow attack, fast release. It's not mixed in completely, which is going to be fine because that's going to keep, since we're using EDM kicks, these already are pretty compressed and pretty tight and pretty heavy. We just want to emphasize that. We just want to emphasize that a little bit with a little bit more compression. In terms of EQ, we're going to boost the 8K as we always do. Yeah? And I'm going to turn this down a little bit because we're going to get louder. Yeah? I'm going to go over to my low end over here at around 60 hertz, and I'm going to boost that. Yeah, and if you got a sub or nice headphones, you should be hearing the low end kicking right now. And I'm going to cut out, again, some of the extraneous low end down here. Okay? That's going to be good. And this is going to help us control a little bit. Now we're going to clip the drums. They're already pretty clipped and distorted, so we really need to be careful not to overdo it. Right, and we want to mix this in. Let's turn that down a notch because it's hurting my ears a little bit. Right, and you can see that our volume is way up there right now. So we're going to trim this down so that we have proper gain staging. Right, it's going to be around, let's take it down to -8. This will allow us, -7 is fine. And we want to get our snare to -7 as well. This will keep things pretty balanced. Our snare could actually be a little bit louder. And that way we'll have a pretty even flow right into our master bus. And please remember that we do not have our master bus set up right now. There's nothing there. I think we've got some stuff on our bass, but our bass sounds terrible, so we're going to need to fix that. Okay. Another thing that we can do is let's just do some cleanup work on the lower frequencies. So I'm going to turn every other band off right now. We just need to clean up some of this build up in here because that way, because otherwise it'll trigger our compression in a very, very not okay way. And this way we emphasize the 60 hertz bump over there. Yeah. We can scoop it out a little bit more, and let's clean up these low mids over here as well. Yeah? So this is the sound we started out with. This is where we end up. Now that crackling on the high end I'm not very happy with, but we'll see how it fits. We'll see how it sounds. Okay, that's good. Let's do the bane of my existence. And you can barely hear the kick right now because everything is not mixed and balanced to each other, right? The snare. Okay, so for the snare, we've actually got one sound going. And I think this is the Lindrum. No, it's just the snare that I picked that I thought was cool, I guess. We're going to need 2 more tracks for our snare. So there's going to be like snare 2. Snare 2 and snare 3. Oh, damn, Cubase, you so smart. You blow my mind. You so fine, you blow my mind. Okay, let's turn off Q-Link over here. Okay. Let's, so we're soloed out on our snare sum over here. Our snare sum is actually not going into our drum bus. It's actually going into our master bus, which is a big no-no. It's fantastic. Okay. So this is our basic sound, yeah? It's terrible. We're going to need to beef that up. This is a rookie snare. We can do better. Let's see what sounds we can get. So I'm thinking there are some snares I picked up. So they're from the Brad Brunazzi synthwave drums, and he has some custom one-shots that he did of the Lindrum snare over here. I think these are the ones. These two. And you'll see what we will do with these. Now these, since we're doing a we're doing a more modern cyberpunk style, different tracks. So this is going to be snare 2 and snare 2 wet. We're going to have to be very, very careful with how we layer these in, yeah? Right, that tail is going to be too much. We're going to have to make sure that these Lindrum, I think they are, snares, right? These 80s snares don't overtake our sound, but become an integral part of it, yeah? So let's balance these out, and then we'll see what we're missing. We're probably missing like a very modern dubsteppy snare. That's what I'm feeling like I need over here. Let's balance these out against each other. I feel like the tail is too much over here, so we're gonna cut some of that out. And it feels like it has to be gated more. It has to be even shorter. That's it. Right, so now it actually sounds like it's already a gated snare, yeah? That's gonna be okay. We're gonna have 2 reverbs on our snare. Do you remember we did the 2 reverbs on our snare thing like a couple months ago? We're doing it again. So this is gonna be snare 3, and this is gonna be our big F off snare, yeah? This is basically what it's going to be, and this snare needs to demolish our minds, yeah? Let's take out the solos. Let's solo out on the snare some once again. We've got that snap in there. We're gonna do something with that. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna look for another snare. So I'm looking for future sessions, maybe. These snares are too trappy for my liking. Let's see what we have in here. Snails. Futuristic. I'm listening. Why you would put a phaser on a snare, I have no idea. Layered? Oh, hello. It's cool, but again, this needs to be a layer. So this is a pretty cool one. But again, I need to be very, very careful with how I layer this in. So this needs to go down town to brown town. What? Okay. And it needs to be come on, over here and over here and over here and over here. Okay. And let's layer this in. Yeah, you see it loses kind of that high-end presence if I take it out, so that's good. I'm still missing my big snare. Where is my big snare? Where you at, big snare? Snare some. Snare some. Okay. And we're going to go in here and come on. I got to have like a big a big F in snare over here. Hmm. No? Could we actually get away with a dubstep rhythm snare in here? It still needs like some body and weight to it, but I'm hoping that the Lindrum snare will provide that. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. Okay, and here's the trick to fattening up these snares, yeah? We're gonna create an effect track, we're gonna stereo it out, we're gonna say, outside folder, we're gonna say you have to go into the snare sum, and you shall be the verb suite. Or no, the plates is what I need, I think. Snare verb. So usually for my reverb on my snare, for my dedicated sort of reverb on my snare, oh my god, Cubase, please don't crash. Don't do it. Don't do it to me. I do hope I saved. Oh, there we go. Save. These Slate plugins, man, like I swear, I love them to death, but they tend to crash my Cubase. And I don't know why. Either my PC is too crappy, which I don't think that is the case, or I have or they're not optimized very well for Windows and Cubase, but I love them to bits. Like I couldn't do anything without them. Okay, so let's give it a very, very bright color in here so that I know what it is. What it is. Okay, so usually I use Verb Suite Classics, but for the song that I played you during the intermission, I actually used this one, the Lustrous Plates, and it worked to great effect. So let's see how we do this. So we go to our snares and we say, hey, you gotta go into the snare verb. And we put the sends to the snare verb. And we go over here, we send everything to the snare verb, and the snare verb is going to feed back into the snare sum, which means that when we're doing processing on our snare sum, we're not only processing the individual samples, we're also processing the reverb of those individual samples, which means that it's gonna sound massive. So check it out. So far, this is raw, right? We haven't done anything on the snare bus, right? Yeah? We need to put the pre-delay to 0 so that it hits at the same time. We also need to make sure that that we gate it a little bit. Yeah? So if we go to our gate over here and we say, so let's give it a little bit of an attack, a little bit of a release, and we have to be very, very careful. I'll turn this up a little bit. We have to be very careful to set this gate in a musical way where it clamps just before the next hit comes in, because otherwise it'll trip up our compressors, right? So basically my reverb needs to stop at around here, yeah? Yeah. This gate on in Cubase is very cool because you can see green means it's open. Yeah, so it permits the sound to come through. Yellow means it's coming in. It's coming in. It's starting to clamp down, and red means it's off. And you can see just before the next snare hits, it's off. Yeah. Okay. Now we need to do our processing on our snare sum. Oh, excuse me. My throat is a bit dry. It's a bit ein, zwei, drei. Okay. Let's go to frequency, right? We're gonna do the basics, right? So let's get into our frequency over here and start cleaning up frequencies, as the name would imply. So usually I'm pretty aggressive. You see that they're coming in. This is unfortunate. You see that basically the frequency where the snare is coming in is a bit lower than I would have liked, yeah? I would have liked it to peak at 200, but it's not coming in. It's not quite coming in there. However, if I eliminate this low end, oh, there's actually one reason why that is doing that. I present to you the reverb, the snare verb, which is over here actually. This is what's giving me the peak in between 100 and 200, and that is a problem. So the way we're going to fix that is just by a very, very simple high-pass filter, right? And we're going to come in and take out some of that. Once we start pumping everything up with volume and compression and low end and stuff like that, that reverb is going to sound like right? Which is very, very nasty. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We do want some of that information, but not too much. So let's try to get it to where... Ugh! I wish I had... There you go. You still have that low-end attack from the reverb, but it's not too much. Now if we go in here... We can clean it up a little bit more, and I would like to do that so that we have space for our bass. I don't want to clean up the whole low end of the snare, because I tend to do this, and I just leave low end at 200, and that's not going to be enough, unfortunately. That's just... that makes my snares sound pretty thin, and that's not okay. So our volume coming into this is a bit too high, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Q-Link and actually turn these faders down a notch so that it doesn't trip up our compression by coming in too hot as a signal. Yeah, gain staging. This is what gain staging is all about. Just keep making sure that you're not going too hot into your like compressors and in EQs and stuff like that. Did this trip up our gate? Okay, that should be fine. We're going to go back in here and start cleaning up frequencies. So let's find the basketball. Or resonant frequencies if you want to be technical about it and cool. This note I'm not happy about, so I'm going to take that out. Yeah. And we're going to take out some of the high end, but not too much. We're going to boost it up afterwards anyway. Let's darken it up a little bit. Okay, now we're going to go into our virtual mix track, and we're going to do basically the same process that we did before. So in here, I am going to put in an EQ, and I'm going to put in a compressor, right? And I'm going to put it to fast attack, slow release. Mix it just a little bit in here. I'm going to go to 8K and boost the high end. And I'm going to go to 200 hertz and boost the low end on this snare quite substantially. And then we're going to balance it out. And that, my friends, is a goddamn snare sound, okay? Once again, we're using the compressor to make it hit very hard, right? And we're boosting the low end into that compressor, so the compressor reacts more aggressively to it, yeah? And it's also bringing out the low end in the snare, so it's like, like, it's huge, yeah? In order to make it sound even bigger, what I would like to do is boost a little bit of the presence on the... Yeah. That's a bit much. That'll do. Okay, now, yeah, and I was saying since we're coming in with so much volume, we need to take down the output over here. Yeah, that's gonna calm it down a little bit. We're back down to -6, but now we're gonna come in with the clipper and distort the crap out of this snare. So just come on, distort me. I'm right here. Come on, do it. Yeah? I mean, we could go even harder on this snare, honestly. You know what we could also do? We could bring up the reverb. Yeah, and now the snare is a bit too loud versus the kick. So we'll need to do some balancing over there. Here's another thing that, again, we need to do. Let's just take out some of that extraneous low end in there, because there's a little bit that we don't really need in there for our snare. Because we distort it, and when you distort something, like, it brings out everything, yeah? And then we just do cleanup work. Now, all we need to do is simply match our volumes with our kick and our snare. Yeah, you see our snare is quite a bit louder than our kick. Yeah, and it's not that reverby it's not so reverby where you feel like it's it's coming in too loud, to where you feel like it's 280s, yeah. But it is reverby enough to where we can work with it, yeah? Now, our next step, so let's see how our drums are coming in terms of volume. Yeah, just look at these drums. They're so low in volume. to where we actually have enough, since we did proper gain staging and everything is coming in nice and smooth in terms of volume. Now we actually can afford to turn it up louder. Yeah? So that's awesome. So let's get those drums up. Now, the other thing, I mean, I could take care of the hi-hat. I'm going to need some other samples for hi-hat anyway, because they sound terrible. Terrible. Let's turn the hi-hat down, because you know how much I enjoy hi-hats. Okay. So that's cool. Let's get our bass in. So that's just a terrible bass sound right there. Like, I mean, what'd I do to it? I just high-passed it? Why? Also, there's a big problem with the bass sound in the sense that it's continuous. There's like a continuous hum to it. So let's check out how our bass sounds and let's see which one is the problem and let's take that out. Yeah, because this is not okay. So it's actually the Prophet bass. And all I did was tweak the release on the amp envelope over here. So basically the release is how long the sound, like how long a note goes. Yeah. And if I take that down, yeah, you see it cuts out the sound. We need to do the same thing with this bass, which I don't think is doing anything. Okay? That's one thing. The other thing is that we need to sidechain it quite heavily, I might add. So sidechaining is a very, very good technique to know if you're doing electronic music. Basically what it means is that we're going to engage a compressor every time the kick or snare hits. Blah, easy peasy, yeah? So we have our compressor on our bass over here. We're going to say, hey, you kick can go into kick some and snare some. You guys can just go right into the compressor over there. Yeah, and that gives us that pumping sound that we like so much, yeah? And it doesn't bother us anymore. Yeah, much better. It's very, very aggressive though. We might pull back on that one, but let's open up our high pass. Whoa! Oh, I know why I did this. I did this because I wanted the attack of the riff bass, which is another bass sound. So here's the problem. We have two bass sounds. We have our riff bass and we have our bass bass. So in order to mitigate that, we need to find a space for the two, right? And since we can't really do it in terms of arrangement because they're both playing kind of low notes, we have to do it through EQ. So this is why I'm taking out the high-end information from our bass and converting it into a bass bass. Just low-end information, yeah? okay? What I also want is some extra compression on this bass and some extra boosts on the low end. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to use our... You know what? I'm going to keep using the CS lift. I never really use it, so we're going to go with punchy. So let's see. We're also going to use an EQ to boost 100 hertz, which is where we want our bass to kind of sit. Sounds pretty goddamn cool. And we're going to use the modern compressor over here, again with the slow attack, fast release, and we're going to just jack it. Oh yeah. And now the key really is to get the balance between the bass and the drums, right? So you still want the bass to come in and have that extra sub and low end. Currently it's not doing that as much as I'd like. So we're gonna have to do some wackiness over here. So what happens if I say... So what key are we in, really? Like if I were to look at frequency, where's our note coming in? Where's our bass note? C. So it's actually around, so C is actually here. So it's actually around our kick. So that is the problem right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with this EQ. We're going to put in an extra EQ over here. We're going to go around maybe 70 hertz just to put it a little bit above the kick. We're going to boost that a little bit. And we're going to high pass a little bit. Whoa. See how it's giving it that extra thump that the bass kind of needed to, you know, sound like a freaking bass? But this is a very dangerous game. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to use EQs which are wide in Q, which means that instead of boosting like a little tiny area, they're doing it like this and very smooth. They're also distorting a little bit, which is cool. But it's very problematic because I need to keep the low end in check. Yeah? So what we're going to do so that we don't overdo it, we're going to go over here into our frequency and we're going to make sure that we contain the extreme low end. This bit. We also need to put a little dip at 60 hertz where our kick sits. But again, if we take out too much of that information, our bass won't sound like a bass. It won't be heavy. Right. So now we just need to properly... there's one more technique that we can do over here just to make sure that everything is in frickin' check. We can use a multi-band compressor and we will use the multipass from kilohertz over here. We're going to create another band which is going to be just the low end information, so everything below 150. Right? And what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep things in check over here with a limiter. Why we do this is because, like, when you play a note, you get more or less low-end information, right? Because each note is a frequency and they move around. So, in order to make that kind of stay properly in there, we use a limiter so that it stops the signal from going above the threshold and keeping everything like a nice block of cheese down there in the low end, yeah? Listen to when the note changes. Right, and this is without the limiter. And now I'll engage the limiter. And listen to this. Yeah, so now that low end is just sitting there. It's just like rumbling in there, yeah? You can see it over here as well, yeah? Right? We can put in some extra dips to clean this up. So at 200, where our snare attack is, where our snare low end is going to come in, we can dip the, we can clean this up a little bit more, just a tad, and dip this around the 60 hertz where our kick sits, just to make room for everything. Yeah, and now the bass is shining a lot more. Yeah, so this little frequency saves our butt. Listen to this. I'm gonna turn it off, and then I'm gonna turn it on. See how inconsistent it is? How it fluctuates all over the place? Like it's oh, sorry. Like it's a hot potato or something. Like that low end is a hot potato. That is not what we want at all. Right, next step. Let's check our levels. Check it versus our drums. Usually bass, you can tuck it in as a volume thing. You can tuck it in a little bit more so it doesn't take up too much space. Right, let's get into the synths. Synthes. Let's see what we have in here. So there's the main riff synth. So this is very, very tricky. First of all, this synth, it's like an electric guitar, right? It occupies so much space that it's annoying, yeah? Let's see how we can clean that up with some frequency in here, yeah? First of all, it's also very loud. There's one thing, actually, since, again, we're making electronic music, we're going to use the same sidechain compressor over here, but we're going to use it on the synthesis as well. Yeah, except we're going to be a lot more gentle with this one, but again, we kind of need to make space for the kick and the bass, yeah? Or for the kick and the snare. This needs a gentler ratio. Yep. Yeah, so, okay, this goddamn synth. So, hey, cheers, Luchan. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out, man. This is awesome. Thank you. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. And yeah, see you next time and catch you on chat. Yo, wacky wascal. Cheers, mate. Have a great evening. Bye. I'm gonna hang around though, because we're gonna finish this goddamn mix, even if it kills me. So let's make some. So again, like this synth is very, very problematic. I really like it though, and I don't want to change its sound too much, but it's so hard to like make room for it in the mix. It's just occupying so much goddamn space, and if you take out all the low end to make room for the bass, you know what? Actually, that works. Okay, let's bring in the other synths. Okay, there's a lot of stuff happening over here, so let's not go that far. Let's just listen to this bit over here where we've got more synths coming in. Let's try to make some room for them, yeah? And balance some stuff out. Again, like this octave synth. Oh boy, this synth. This is again very, very tricky because if I take out too much of the low end, it'll feel thin. So let's see how much we can get away with. Also, all of these synths, in order to actually have some space, they're going to need their own sort of reverb, yeah? We're going to go with the Verb Suite Classics. You are going to go into the Synth Leads group. You're going to be called Synth Leads Verb, yeah? You're going to come in here. You're not going to be super loud, but I'm going to need you to make some room. So I'm thinking maybe like 30 milliseconds pre-delay, which is going to give us some space over there. So let's go to keys. Let's go to Epic Synth Space. Let's turn our decay down. So again, I like to sync my reverbs to my, what do you call it? I like to sing my reverbs to my tempo, right? So over here, we are going to have 117 and 575. Oh, damn, that is a lot. Oh, because it's a slower song, we actually need like half of that. So 117, 575. So it's about a second. It's about a second of delay of reverb that I want on this, right? Full wetness, pre-delay, around 30 milliseconds will be enough, more than enough, right? And I'm gonna start sending these in there. So you, and the honk synth. Honk if you're synthy. And synth leads verb, and turn all of those on. Okay, of course we need to do some balancing, yeah? Not everything needs to go full reverb, yeah? First of all, the reverb itself needs to be turned down a little bit. The honk synth will need to not go as much as well. And the riff octave as well. Okay, let's fix the synth pads as well. And I'm kind of thinking I need to use the compressor over there as well. Not as aggressive though. So I'm actually gonna mix in a little bit of the dry signal, but I still want it to pump, yeah? Because again, it's electronic music. I want it to pump with the kick and the snare. I want everything just to have this pumping vibe, yeah? So if I go over here and I send this to the sidechain synth pads, and I just need to adjust it to taste over here. It's already transgated and has that vibe, yeah? So I don't need to overdo it there. Just a little bit of gain reduction in there to make it fit better. And let's just, for good measure, just try to get a consistency going in with compression and limiting. So, let's take out the low end, first of all, and let's just use a box standard compressor. Or limiter, actually. Let's just use a limiter. So kilohertz limiter. I was wondering why my drum sound were so different over here. Somebody forgot to copy paste the freaking drums. Hello. I was wondering why my snares just went to crap suddenly. Well then, I guess now we know. And do that. I wonder what this sounds like. Hello. That bit needs a bit of tuning. Okay. Now we should sound properly. Oh yeah. Oh my god, the volume balancing over there. Am I too loud? I think I'm too loud. Oof. Hold on. I'm not even mastered yet. This crap is just too loud. Like all these effects. All these things over here. Oh my god, how loud did I make them? Let's turn you down. Right, and I'm gonna need the things over here. And actually, I left the kicks in over here just as a thing, and I kind of like it. Hey, Melody April has just followed. Cheers, welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love. I like the. I'm happy that you like it. Oh my god, we're still kind of mixing it, but this is kind of what we have written so far. But this mix is taking a little bit longer than I had expected. I'm a bit rusty. Let's double up this snare over here. Oh my god, this little break is just annoying. Come on. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and let's turn you down a notch. Okay, we're gonna balance that out in just a minute. So this is still coming in okay. Okay, so these chorus pads are coming in way too loud. Yeah, that's the problem over here. So these need to be turned down substantially. That's one thing. Another thing is that the chorus leads over here they're just too gosh darn freaking loud. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna say, hey, how about you go to -20 and you go to about, I don't know, -20 again. These chorus pads are, again, way too loud. My god, we're gonna have like insane headroom, aren't we? Like, I already see it that we're at about like minus what thing. Let's see what this sounds like when we turn these down. Right, and over here when we... What happens, like... So we're down here. So this actually needs to be lower and doubled up. Honk if you're synthy. So that needs to go down in volume a tad over here for the chorus because it's a bit too much. And you know what? This is what mixing is, most of it. Like, you just have to get your volumes right, and god darn it, does it not sound okay. What if we brought this percussion element? Like, I feel like I need more percussion elements on this first chorus. It's like not popping enough in terms of drums. I mean, the drums aren't worked yet. Yeah, they're crap. But we got a beat going, yeah? You know what? I hate my bass sound. I just realized this is a terrible bass sound. This thing. Who thought this was a good idea? Obviously I did, but it's just terrible. It doesn't work. So we're gonna go to the bass. We're gonna go once again to all. Hello. Hello. Ooh. Ooh, I like that. Let's get it balanced right with our drums, yeah? And then it'll sit better with the rest of our instruments. Hold on. Ooh. Oh. Hell yeah. That's a freaking bass right there. But in order to like make it stand out a little bit more, to make it more aggressive, we're gonna need to like cut the notes so that they're not connected. But how come? Hold on. No, this is a bass sound. I can work with this. Oh! Oh! Oh yeah! That is what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. Screw the mix. It needs a little bit more balancing, but I don't care. Let's turn this crap up loud. So, I'm going to adjust the volume over here on my mixer, turn the Cubase down. But be warned, we are going to turn this up loud as balls, yeah? So here we go. Here we go now. First things first, mastering. Maybe I should cut this actually. Cheers on YouTube.